Following that, there's a riff that takes you to the following section. And that's based off a set of chords also. I'm looking at my notes actually. It's a D flat major 7 to an E flat 9, and then a B flat minor 7 flat 5, down to an A flat major 7, and then finally an F minor. So that's when you hear the. So those are basically all arpeggios. Like when I'm starting on the D flat, I go right up the arpeggio. 1, 3, 5, 7 to the octave, back to the 7. Then I go 6, 5, 6. The 6th in there, down to the 5th, back up to the 6th. So, and I kind of do the same pattern with the dominant chord, which is why I threw the 13th in the chord. See? Because that C note is in there. And then we'll continue on. Oh, when we get to the B flat minor 7 flat 5, I start on the sharp 4. So you have, and then I repeat it an octave lower. Instead of going to the root do, I go down to the flat 7. And that lands right on the A flat major 7. So, and the 6th of the A flat is an F, so that gives me the F minor chord. So that's the transition into what is the basic, the main groove or riff of the song. And that's also based on a set of chords which start on E, and it's an E minor 7 flat 5, down to an E diminished chord, and then I go to a D minor and a G7. Now because I wanted this a little disturbing, there's some tense chords in there, but I also wanted to make it, I wanted to make this section actually really creepy, but I also wanted it to be kind of funny. And if you hear the actual lyrics, they're talking about like some superstitious beliefs, which have some absurdity. And so I tried to achieve that in the harmonies of the vocal lines. So if you're listening to the harmonies and the vocals and the riffs, and the cool thing is when we repeat the actual riff based off these chords, actually let me go further, because I do that set of chords starting on the E, but then I go down to tritone, I do the same chords. The same chord progression, just starting on B flat. So I have a B flat minor 7 flat 5, to the B flat diminished, to an A flat minor, and then to a D flat 7. And the second time this whole sequence of chords repeats, but actually we're playing riffs. That's just what the riffs are based on, those chords. But when it repeats, what we have is the bass, which originally was following me during the riff, is going to start doing a walking, like a jazz bass line. And then that's when the vocals come in with these harmonies. So it's got this strange vibe to it, which I think there's a slight humor to me in the harmonies, but it's still, to me, very creepy. So that's the vibe I was going for in that particular section of the song. Then, following that, it releases into breaks, which to me is a real scary section. To make make it scary, I did a bunch of things here. Excuse me. One was, well, I started with a B flat minor chord, so you know minors can be sad or scary, however you want to look at it. But then I took the fifth of the B flat minor and I lowered it to the sharp 4, which basically what we get, and I left all the other notes the same. We're going to get a B flat minor sharp 11. And then I go back up to the B flat minor, and then I go to this, really what you could consider a F sharp major 7 with a B flat in the bass. Back to the B flat minor, so. And then the final chord, which I haven't really figured out her name because I don't have the perspective of what it is from the root. Which it can be called a number of things, I'd imagine. But you do have a tritone here. You have a B, an F, another B, then a D flat, and then an F. Again, so we get this chord again. And that's followed by a strange riff, which is basically a quintuplet over 2 beats. So it's an odd riff, and then it comes back to the B minor and goes. And then we do some augmented chords to take us into the next section. A augmented, and they go down 2 whole steps to F augmented, down 2 whole steps to D flat augmented, down 2 whole steps to A augmented. I also want to point out that in the break, in the really frightening section over the B flat minor, that I used the German language, so it's sung in German there, and I used it because it's a very strong language, and it's kind of I guess you could say it's ugly in a sense. It can be an ugly language at times, and when you put it together with the lyrics of that section, it really gets scary, you know. And with the voice that Mike is using to sing it in, is somewhat disturbing. The lyrics in that section are, and remember, this is of the idea that this ideology is going to steal your children. Maybe taking free thought away, but it's your child I will steal. I will make them all dirty. Heaven I will sell you. You believe my folklore. So this is, you know, based from this dastardly person who really doesn't believe in himself, but is just using it to try to control people. Which we know there are those out there, like the Robert Tiltons, who are doing so. But and many more. But that's what that section's really based off, and that's how I hope I got across the vibe of this dastardliness.